Welcome to Life in the Suburbs with Sharon. I'm Sharon Loudenbach. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I am a realtor for Compass Real Estate in Montgomery County. And I have lived in the suburbs my entire life. I've lived in the Philadelphia suburbs in Montgomery County since I was a kid. Over this time, especially the last 10 years in selling real estate, I realized what amazing people and businesses that we have in the region. So I've decided to start this podcast and showcase and share some of the people that I know and that I'm meeting in the region and let them tell their story. Before we get started, I want to do my little bit on realtor wisdom. This week, I was talking about, I work with a lot of sellers. So people are always asking me, like, what are the couple things that we should really, like, if we're preparing to sell in a year or so, what are the things that we should think about doing? And one of the things I always say, because I always try simple but really effective items. And okay, walk into a room and look up, right? Look up at your ceiling and look up at your lighting. It is such an important item when people are coming to view your house for the first time, and very often it's only for 30 minutes. You need to make sure all your lights are working, all your bulbs match. And really something that I've been hitting on so hard these days is updating your lighting fixtures. They're not super expensive. A handyman can typically install a new one where there's already a socket. And to buy a new one, God, go on Amazon or call me. I love shopping for that kind of stuff for sellers. So take that extra time, do it ahead of time. Actually, do it before you even think about moving, because guess what? Maybe you should enjoy it now before you list your house. Update some of those fixtures and really make sure all the bulbs are working and match, because blue ones and warm ones look really hard. It's really obvious in a room. It's very, very obvious. That's my realtor tidbit for the day. Today we are welcoming Jodi Silverman. So this is a really funny story. So Jodi is the founder of Moms Who Dare for the Empty Nest and Midlife Mom, and she's a speaker and a podcast host. You're sort of like me. You wear a lot of hats. So I'm a hat girl. I don't know if you're a hat girl, but I know you wear a lot of hats. Jodi and I have actually known each other at least 10. I don't even know. Our kids went to camp together. So we've known each other for a long time, even before I got into real estate and started doing all this networking that I do all the time and meet all these great women that are business owners and entrepreneurs. So welcome, Jodi Silverman, to Life in the Suburbs with Sharon. We have so many crazy connections. I don't know if anybody cares, but both of my sons now work for her husband's accounting firm.
I know, and they're both doing so well.
And they're both doing so. They're good boys.
Good job, Mom. Good job, Mom.
Yeah, I'll take that credit. Thank you.
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah. So let's get started, and we are gonna, open as we always do. You need to share with the listeners about you. Tell us about where you came up with, because I'm sure I know this wasn't your first career coming up with Moms Who Dare, the Empty Nesters. So kind of explain where this all came from.
Yeah, before I do, great tip. Love the tip about the lighting, to walk in and look up, because we look around, but we never look up. So great tip.
Thank you.
I'm going to go check on my light bulbs later.
I know.
And I am going to enjoy it now. So so first of all, thanks for having me, Sharon. I love this whole what's great about living in the burbs. And my career, my first career was in sales. I sold direct mail marketing advertising, and I'm going to really keep this short because, like you, I like my episodes like to be like, listenable. It was like a moment when I realized that both my kids were getting ready to leave home. And I was sitting in a quiet space, and I'm like, I'm going to have a lot of time on my hands. And what am I going to do with all this extra time? And is what I'm currently doing, selling commercial printing, fulfilling enough? And it was like, hell no, I don't want to sell commercial printing the rest of my life.
Right.
And, I'm really shortening my story. And with that, with answering that question, honestly, it actually opened me up to say yes, and to be able to see opportunity and possibilities to say yes to. And I found myself saying yes to things that were really out of my comfort zone, new business opportunities, going to going to Chamber of Commerce meetings and women events, things I never did before, things that were a little out of my comfort zone, going alone. That starting a new business was a whole new thing for me. That new business, though, that one, yes, opened up the world of personal growth and development for me and really led me down a path of a self-awareness journey, really
Mhm.
becoming aware of what were my limiting beliefs, my self-talk, things I never thought of or even thought of before because I had been successful, and yet I had a lot of fear inside of me. And I was having so much fun stepping out of my comfort zone. I was scared, I was excited, but it was rewarding and fun. And I was really discovering amazing things about myself I never even knew were there. And I realized in a moment that, I wanted my friends, I wanted other moms who were getting ready to be empty nesters to understand that yes, it's sad, yes, it's a change, and yes, it can be hard, and yes, it's your time. It's your time to do exactly what you're sending your kids to do. Go out in the world,
Yeah.
learn, grow, and meet new people. And I created a Facebook group, and it was another speaker I heard talking about her year of daring that gave me the
Okay.
word dare. And I loved it.
That
So I
year
created
was
Moms Who Dare.
how long ago? Because I
Moms Who
remember
Dare.
me. What was it?
Moms Who Dare started in 2015.
2015. Okay.
Ah,
Yeah. So it's about a year into my new business journey. Okay.
yep. Yep. So Moms Who Dare started just as a little Facebook group locally, and I would just post. Has anybody ever gone to a movie at 10:30 in the morning? When you're in sales, you can kind of like do stuff like that. And three people would meet me at a movie. How many people want to go, axe throwing? And I just started doing
I
things. And
actually, I mean, I'm sure you remember, but we can tell the listeners. I was an original member, an early on
yeah.
member, and I remember the beginning of it, definitely before your podcast.
Well, and what you were, that was the beginning of it becoming the business. I didn't know how this was going to shape up to a business because there's Moms Who Dare, the Facebook group, and then there's Moms Who Double Dare, the membership community.
Yes.
Yes. And that's where you became one of my very first members.
And we went to New York to see what's her name? Um,
Mel Robbins.
no,
Oh,
Megan
no, oh, you
Kelly.
went with us to see the Megyn Kelly
Megan
Today Show.
Kelly show.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it. I mean, we cut flowers, we did all this stuff, but I mean, so if you're going to speak to this audience of new people that may not know you yet, it's that fear of the unknown, I think that, and I'm sure you talk about that all the time. Like, I came out of a business, I only knew what I knew. I knew
Yep.
nothing more. I didn't know what else I could know.
Yeah.
And it not only was that, the fear for you to start it, to jump into it, but it's also the fear for women of our age to dare to jump in and do these fears of unknown. Go
Yeah.
someplace with
And
people
doing it
you.
with complete strangers who you don't know for the most part.
And by the way, I bumped into one of the complete stranger friends the other night. I bumped into Cindy at dinner the other night. So like these are like things that, keep coming around for sure. It's a really interesting group. You've planned some cool stuff with the ladies. So tell us one of your most exciting and successful events so far.
Yeah. So, oh my God, you just reminded me, like I forgot, we went zinnia flower picking.
Yes, I know.
We went, yeah. So I have to say, so we started out as an in-person group and we have a huge following in the Philadelphia suburb area. So we still get together in person now that the whole pandemic thing. But I
Right.
would say if I had to pick the one in-person event that really sticks with me the most, it was early on and 7 or 8 of us went zip lining at the Elmwood Park Zoo in Norristown, Pennsylvania. And it
That
sticks
was
to me
before
because
COVID, if I remember. Am I
and that
right?
was way before COVID,
Yeah.
yes. But why that sticks in my mind is we went because it was something on my bucket list and I didn't want to do it alone. And I wanted to go somewhere where I could like do it simply. So what better than a children's zoo? But I have to tell you, we faced so much fear and it was such a team building thing for women back then. I was probably 40 something. I'm 57 now. No, I was probably 50.
Yeah.
But it was an amazing experience I never expected to experience, the team building and the fear that came up with all of us and how we faced the fears together as adult women without drama. And so that was very impactful.
I
And
love
then,
that.
yeah, it was great. And then I would have to say that as a virtual, when we added the virtual piece, because we do have members from other parts of the country since the pandemic.
Yeah.
The two things that I think are the most, that I know are the most successful, most impactful is every year the membership gets a virtual vision board workshop every year. It's a full day virtual experience that is so fun, empowering, and impactful. And we also have the virtual piece where we get together twice a month. And it's like one of them is a casual mom's night out, icebreakers, connecting. It's very well attended. Very
And
well
that's
attended.
virtual.
That's
That's virtual.
virtual.
Okay. So you do
Yeah.
virtual ice cream. Like,
Icebreakers.
oh, right.
Virtual ice cream. Yeah, you can bring your ice cream. Why not? It's a virtual, it's like mom's night out. We do mom's night, we do a
Gotcha.
mom's night out, dinner night out in person, and we do a mom's night out virtually.
Virtually.
And,
Okay.
and they're really impactful. I mean, it's really great to bring, like you said, women who don't even know each other, and they come together and they're so happy to see each other once a month.
Oh, 100%. You know,
Yeah,
I was never big into virtual. But now that we're back in person, like I don't mind adding it to my life.
absolutely.
But before, when it was like the only option, I really struggled with it. But now that it's just an addition to life, it's a great option. You know, it's a
It's a
great
great hybrid. It's a great hybrid.
I agree. Yeah, great hybrid. Totally. I want to talk to you about public speaking. I know yesterday, I'm sorry I couldn't make it, but you were the speaker, whatever the top speaker at an Eastern Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce luncheon for women with 70 some in attendance.
Yeah.
Um, Tell us about it.
First of all, I do love what people fear most. I love public speaking. I do love it. It doesn't mean I
And
don't
don't
get,
feel guilty. Don't feel
no,
guilty.
I don't.
I
I
love
don't, but I
doing
tell people,
this.
yeah,
You
I
know, like
know. This is why we do this. I tell people, I don't feel bad about it. I actually love what people fear most. And it's
yeah,
great. So yeah, I was invited to speak at the first monthly Women in Business luncheon, because they
okay.
host those frequently. Is it every month or bi-monthly? It's
I
every month.
believe they're every month.
Every month. So I was asked to speak, and they chose the topic that is so near and dear to my heart of decluttering our self-talk to make 2024 your year feeling confident in yourself and
Okay.
happier overall. So yeah, I got to speak in front of 70 plus amazing women in business, and some women not in business. Some women came out because they're in transition and they just want to see what's out there and what the
Yeah.
possibilities are. And we went through a Simply Get Powerful exercise to start creating awareness around the things we think and say about ourselves that are not serving us, that are limiting us, that are keeping us in fear and in doubt. And it was really wonderful. Everybody just shared and got really vulnerable and left
Um,
feeling really good about themselves. So it was great. It was really great. It's a great organization for those of you who live locally.
yeah, so it's Eastern Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. Eastern Montgomery County covers like the entire area that I do business, and I always say I
Yeah,
want the 73
you're a
card,
member.
like I'm a member from Cheltenham to all the way out to Pottstown. Like that's
Yeah.
Eastern Montgomery County and north. So it is. There's a lot of tremendous business people, and it is a co-ed organization, but they do have some specific women's events.
And they
Um,
have a men's event. They have a men's event coming up, and it's just
yeah.
for, I love that. I love you can choose to, be co-ed, and you can choose just to hang with the women. The men can have the women. I think there's a place and time to be co-ed, and it's important for men to hang with men and women to hang with women. And it's important because the vulnerability factor there is different.
The director of that group is doing an amazing job. She
It's doing
has so
great.
many events, Jude. She has so many events every month. It's like
Yeah.
it could be a full-time job, which it can't be. So not for me, can be for her.
Yeah.
So this podcast is meant to talk about interesting people and places in the Philadelphia suburbs. I want to know, what is your favorite thing in this region?
Well, so like you,
Makes
I
you
grew up in
happy.
this. Makes me, well, I grew up in this area. I grew up actually in the Philadelphia side, right across the street from Montgomery County, in second to Cheltenham, and I moved to the suburbs. But I have to share that if you're from this area, when people ask you where you're from, you know what we say. We say, well, Philadelphia. Well, no, from outside of Philly. From outside of Philly. I have it on my phone. Because we all say that. But I guess what I love most about this area, well, first of all, this is the area I know.
Yeah.
My family's here, my friends are here, but most importantly, it's so convenient to so many different fields. It's a 45-minute ride or less into the city.
Yep.
We could have a 30-minute ride the other direction to the country,
Yep.
an hour and a half ride to the beach. I love that Philadelphia is a foodie town. There's amazing foods. The theater in Philly is great. There's just anything you want.
Yeah.
And what I love most about living in the suburbs, part of that is the quiet. I like the peacefulness. I like the quiet, but I can go find the noise wherever I want it. And I don't know, this is where I know this is home to me. But if I had to say one thing, it's because where we're located, you can go to the mountains in an hour.
And so this region, I mean, obviously I can always
It's
throw
the
it back to
region.
real estate, right? So this region is so desirable, so highly desirable for people, especially where you and I tend to live, especially
Yes.
eastern Montgomery County, because we
Yeah.
can literally get to Philly, to King of Prussia, to Conshohocken, to
The Poconos.
Bucks County. I'm talking like work-wise.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So it is so convenient, this
Mhm.
area, and especially down where I live a little south of you in like the Plymouth Meeting, White Marsh area, and we're right off the highway. We're
Yeah.
right on, like I am right at all the highways. So yeah, we can get to Philly in 40 minutes and Jersey in 50 minutes, but we can also go south and everywhere with the turn west with the turnpike and the Blue Route.
Yeah. I tell
So
everybody everything's within 20 minutes.
yeah.
20 minutes. How long is it going to take? 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
And
It's
there's
great.
all, I mean, so we're right outside of a big metropolitan city, which comes with all the arts and all the foodie and all that. But then we're also in these really, really tight communities. Like
Yes.
I will always and never ever forget the Little League baseball community that we raised our kids in White Marsh.
Ah,
I will never,
small.
ever forget it.
It is. It's actually a small town feel. And then you said something, and I just lost my whole train of thought, which
Oh,
that
yeah,
happens
sorry.
this time, at women of a certain age. But you said something, and it'll come to me in a minute. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a small town feel, and it's like 2 degrees of separation everywhere you go
Oh, for
on
sure.
here.
Especially
Yeah.
with, networking recently. Like I went to an event last night down in Brittingham, so a Women in Business Alliance event, and I didn't know if I'd know anybody. And I walk in, it's like I've met half of you women through networking, and like
Yeah.
it's not just our family, it's not just our personal neighborhoody friends. It's also that community of business owners, of business
Yeah.
people.
Oh, I know what I was. And we have so much historic
Yeah.
history here in the suburbs. There's
Did
a
you
lot
walk
of
through?
history. I mean, we have Washington crossing the Delaware right in Washington's Crossing. I mean,
And during COVID, when everybody was looking up all trails or trails, whatever, and we, went and hiked Valley Forge, I don't think I've done that since I was
no.
before I was 10.
Valley
And
Forge, you got Valley Green, you got Fairmount Park. I mean, there's
it,
so much, so
yeah, I
much.
live right in the middle of all of it. It is wonderful. Yay,
It is.
Montgomery County.
Yes, woo woo. From outside
So
Philly.
that is so funny. I don't know if you always hear me, but I'm always saying because I'm from the other side of the river. I
Yeah,
grew up in Lower Merion.
yeah.
So whenever I'm talking to those people that I grew up with, and I moved here 28 years ago, but it's like, oh yeah, we moved on the other side of the river. So that's
It's true.
another.
The other side of the river, that should be another sticker, but that's true. We're so
I
happy
need
on
that
our side
sticker.
now.
You need to tell me where I can get a custom made sticker that says the other side.
Oh, I can tell you, it's a store locally right by you that you can go get this from.
Oh, fun. Oh, okay. So tell our listeners how to find you and how to find your business, and especially if they're interested, in your group, exactly where they can find you and listen to you, because I know that you do
I have a
lives a lot.
podcast too. Yeah, so I mean, I do everything I do. I'm a mindset and happiness coach for empty nest moms and midlife women. And the best place to start is to go to jodisilverman.com.
Yeah.
You can find the podcast there. You can find the links to to Instagram and Facebook. And if you are looking locally for a group of women to have in-person and virtual connections with, just find us on Facebook, Moms Who Dare on Facebook. And that's where I'm in that group often. It's over 2,000 women in that group, and they're so engaged, so much happens. And yeah, just reach out, because I do have a specific mailing list just for, it's called Philly in the Burbs, Philly in the
Okay.
Suburbs, Philly in the Suburbs mailing list for when we do in-person events. for those women who live close to me that want to meet new moms. So, but Facebook Moms Who Dare, you can get to everything through the jodisilverman.com website.
Okay. I was going to say also, Jodi, if you Jodi Silverman on any of your socials, it will come up.
Yeah. And and the podcast is I have some great guests on that too. So
Yeah. Okay, that's great. So, as you probably have heard, I do a time to turn the table. We're nearing the end where my guests get to ask me any question that they want.
well, I was thinking about that and I thought, well, this is for the women I serve. Most of the women that come to us in my community at in the stage of life that we are feeling like a little bit loss of purpose and are looking to rediscover who they get to be now during this chapter. And as you mentioned briefly in the beginning, you came from a very successful family business that many of us in the Philadelphia and the Burbs area know,
Yep.
a luggage company. And just like with a lot of retail, it was successful and then it was time to move on.
Yeah.
And you did move on. Look at you. You have this amazing, thriving, I've watched you create this and build a real estate business. So I guess what I would ask you is what advice would you have, or what tip could you give a woman listening to this right now that is looking to reinvent herself or find a new career? What's the first step to take? Like, what were the steps? And not just in real estate, but think back
Yeah.
to when you decided, like, what was the first step to take to feel daring enough to do that?
Thank you. Good question.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that this doesn't get too long-winded, but when my family business was starting to struggle after 2009, I saw the writing on the wall. It was pretty clear that it wasn't going to be forever for me. So I actually studied and got my real estate license when Robinson Luggage was still open. And I tried to transition out. Long story, very short, it wasn't successful. So I stayed around and ran the business with my sister and all of our staff until we eventually closed in December of 2013. And the real question, the answer is, even though I had my real estate license, I didn't really think that I wanted to do that right away. I had worked a little bit in real estate when I first got my license and was still running the business. And I was actually working on the other side of the river. I was working in Lower Merion. And it was super competitive with the agents. And I was like, I'm not interested in that. I had just come out of closing a business that had been around for almost 80 years. And there was a lot of love, a lot of just love from our staff and our customers. And I just couldn't get into that business. So anyway, so I really took time. I took time and I had to evaluate what this meant to somebody who didn't have a clear title. Like when you're president of a company, you do everything, but you do nothing specifically well. Right? So it was really hard. I was looking on like Career Builder or whatever website it was at the time for job postings. And I was like, I'm really not like perfectly good at any of this. So it was a lot. As you know, somebody referred me to really talk to somebody back in real estate on this side of the river. And it was a great fit for me because I could run my own business and it didn't feel challenged on that agent competitiveness side. It just didn't. And that is, thank God, continued to be true in my world. But I think, I just remember like I'm staring at what my old office used to be down here in the basement. And there was a lot of just time thinking about what my second career is going to be.
So
I knew I had to make money. I had to replace my income. I mean, my family, my husband does a great job, but my family is supported by both of us working.
which
So
a lot of people are, yeah.
yeah, so it
So
wasn't
start with what? It was starting with like looking within, like, what am I good at? What are my skills? How do my skills translate? Like,
how do my skills translate and what's going to make me happy and what's the lifestyle mean now? Because I came out 20 some years with basically 7 days a week, even if I wasn't in person, all the time. But you're making me sweat. Like I'm literally living through all this again. But
I love what you said though. What's going to make me happy?
well, I was lucky enough to have the time to discover what I would hope would make me happy. I was lucky enough for that. I had some, you know, time on my side to let me discover it. And for everybody, it's so different, but for me, I knew that I was born a salesman and that was my full being, right? So I was not a president of a company. I learned how to read P&Ls. My sons are now on me about it.
Right.
I learned how to do all that, but my true being, I was born a salesman. So I was able to I was able to fall back into it.
So, I mean, my takeaway from what you just said, first of all, and you're doing great. You're right. You're exactly where you are supposed to be, because I'm watching you do this. I hear that the number one thing is to sit with it for a little bit and really do some self-reflection and maybe look beyond the title of what you had and what really feels right inside. And
Yeah.
then
I
yeah.
mean, yeah. So when I started in the industry and I was at Keller Williams and I had a business coach there actually, which was, I highly recommend something like that. And I
Business.
remember early on in the industry where you're like literally not making money. Like you don't even have buyers to take out. You're like completely stressed out. And I remember saying, maybe I should talk to a team. Maybe I should talk to a team lead and join a team. And she's like, what the hell are you talking about? She's like, you ran a business. You're not joining a team. You're going to build a team. So you just have to do it.
Yeah.
If you have the opportunity to take the time and self-reflect and give yourself the grace. When you're our age, hopefully we have some of that time of grace. When you're 30, you don't always have that time.
No,
But
no.
I was 45, a little less actually, I was 43 when all this happened in my life. Um, so that's my answer.
I like that answer. That was like, this ending was like an episode of Beyond Empty Nest. I'm
Yeah.
like, we're gonna have you on. All right.
Well,
Well,
we've
no,
always
thank
talked
you
about
for
that.
that.
We've always talked about how we can help each other out. And
Yeah, I love turn the table. I love that you ended with turning the table, because you give your guests a platform to share all about us, and I think it's good for the viewers to hear more about
there's a
you.
story here. I got a story.
Yeah, you
So
have a total story. Yeah.
I got a
Love it.
story and I'm having fun sharing it on this podcast. So, thank you so much, Jodi Silverman. It was really
Thank
a pleasure. I
you.
know we've kind of come up with these ideas for a couple of years now, and this is the first time we've actually done something like in this platform. And thank you all for listening. Do me a favor and go to my YouTube channel, which is Life in the Suburbs with Sharon. Try to follow it so you can see all of our weekly episodes. And we will see you next time. Signing off.